James Dyson spent 600 million euros for an electric car that nobody bought. This is the story of one of the biggest failures in car industry. Let's start from the beginning. It all started one morning in 2014. James Dyson, a successful British entrepreneur and a brilliant inventor, and yes, I'm talking about that Dyson, the man behind the vacuum cleaners, the hair dryers. So James Dyson that morning thought, we in Dyson, we are creating the best batteries and the best electric motors in the world. Why don't we use that know-how to create a luxury car capable of competing with Tesla? Keep in mind, we are in 2014. We have Tesla and almost nothing else. We are somehow before the beginning of the electric cars era. So, yes, an appliance inventor decided to create an electric car. A new lab is set up in Dyson to work on this project. And the fewer know about it, the better. We are in the middle of the English countryside, in the Masbury area, 40 minutes drive from Bristol. For a full 5 years, James Dyson and a small group of talented engineers work night and day on the electric car, which, like all the Dyson products, has to be cool, performing, stylish and comfortable. They design everything themselves and they do it from scratch, without relying on designs that already exist in the automotive industry. And just think about the cost. In Dyson, they are reinventing from scratch the electric car. They are doing everything from scratch. And the main focus was on the battery range. It is decided that the Dyson car must be able to travel 1,000 kilometers with one charge. And that was a truly ambitious goal. If we consider that nowadays, 9 years later, the average electric car can travel maybe 450 kilometers. To achieve that goal, in Dyson they worked on the engine, the aerodynamics, the transmissions, but that wasn't enough. The only way to achieve those 1,000 kilometers was to fit the car with so many batteries that the car would be too big, too heavy and undrivable. So if you can't reach it using the standard lithium-ion batteries, you have to use a different technology. That technology is called solid-state batteries, which is a revolution from the classic lithium-ion batteries. The solid-state battery basically uses a different technology, which is related to the materials used. And basically it makes the battery lighter, faster to recharge with a greater autonomy, and also doesn't catch on fire like lithium batteries sometimes do. To be honest, they were already studying that technology in Dyson, so they did not start from scratch, but the progress was too slow. So how do you speed up the progress? By buying a company that was already doing that work. So James Dyson completed the acquisition of an American startup called Sacti3, which was specialized precisely on the solid-state batteries. And what is successful? Well, the only thing I can tell you is that 9 years later, nowadays, that technology still only exists in laboratories. Anyway, apart from this, activities are proceeding with a big effort in Dyson. And the Dyson electric car is starting to take shape. We're talking about a 7-seat SUV, which vaguely reminds the Range Rover, and it has two 264 horsepower motors with a super high torque, 4-wheel drive, capable of reaching 200 kilometers an hour. And the wheels are huge, 24 inches, much bigger than the usual. And the question is, why such large wheels? Well, basically for two reasons. First of all, bigger wheels means the car is more capable of doing off-road, and the second reason is that they are more efficient, talking about the autonomy. Not only, if you look at the wheels, they are placed at the front and the rear end of the car. Exactly like, have you ever seen the old Mini? Well, something like this. Once again, why this weird design? Once again, for two reasons. First of all, if you put the wheels in the corner, you have more space inside the car, which makes the car more livable. Second reason, you maximize the angle of attack of the car, which once again has the purpose to make the car more capable of doing off-roads. Because with a higher angle of attack, the car is more capable of transitioning from a flat terrain from a steep slope. However, it has a disadvantage. Because the longer the pace, the bigger the turning radius. Therefore, that makes the car difficult to drive, especially in the tight corners. So, how did Dyson solve the problem? Simply by providing the car with a 4-wheel steering system, which is nothing revolutionary considering that many road cars today use that system, for example like BMW Series 8, many Porsches, and many more. And what's the idea of the 4-wheel steering system? At low speed, the rear tires steer in the opposite direction of the front tires, so the car becomes incredibly agile. while at high speed, the rear tires steer in the same direction of the front tires, therefore making the car super stable. I mean, Dyson really believes in this project. Between 2016 and 2009, the activities proceed apace, and the car reaches the prototype stage. At this point, finally, James Dyson started to think how to produce the car in a mass scale. Meanwhile, the project grew larger and larger, reaching 500 people. And at that point, it was not just an idea. It was something that was becoming reality. It's time now to build a factory, and creating a factory from scratch is not a joke, even if your name is James Dyson. So at this point, James Dyson asked for help to the British government. Basically, he was asking for funds. And the answer, guess what, was no. Okay. James Dyson didn't give up, took a flight and went to Singapore. But why Singapore? Because he has an office there that makes Dyson product destined for the Far East, and because there Dyson always found little bureaucracies, open-mindedness, and big helps for those businesses there. Let's also take into account that the Chinese market, which is huge, is right there. And there are many suppliers of automotive parts. So, with the support of the Singapore government, the factory design starts in Singapore. Cool, everything is going great then. Well, actually, not so much, because the first problems now start to come out. First problem, given the relatively low production volumes compared to other cars, and the need of non-standard components, the production costs are really high. And I don't know if you know it, but you have to think that in so many different cars from different brands, you can find the same components inside. Same engines, same ECUs, same electronics. I made a video about the ECUs and found out that the same ECU is equipped on hundreds of different cars of different brands, and that obviously allows the component to be cheaper, and therefore the final cost of the car to be lower. Here, on the other hand, we're talking about creating custom components only for the Dyson car. And this made the bill from the local automotive suppliers to Dyson very, very high. Problem number 2. Everything is expensive in Singapore. While, for example, the average European salary is around 1,500 euros, here in Singapore is 2,500 euros. Problem number 3. A car is not enough to be produced, but it also has to be sold. Therefore, James Dyson must create, nation by nation, a network of dealership and workshops to sell the car and to fix the cars, as well as the logistic behind it. And we're talking about very, very, very high investments. Only in this moment, James Dyson stopped to do the math, and better late than never, he realizes that the selling price of his electric car for the investment to be sustainable should have been 178,000 euros. And that's about 60 to 70,000 more than a Range Rover Sport. Considering that we are not talking about a revolutionary car or a supercar, that price is simply not competitive. I mean, you can sell a small series of them just to satisfy some rich enthusiast, but the large numbers that pushed the initial dream are simply not sustainable. So at this point, you're probably wondering why Dyson's car was not sustainable, why Tesla succeeded. What did Elon Musk do different than James Dyson? That's simple. Elon Musk was very, very good in finding money. A huge amount of money in the stock market from venture capitalists, as well as from the US government. And therefore, he was capable of building all the ecosystem necessary to create Tesla. James Dyson, on the other hand, tried to do everything by himself with his own capital, which simply wasn't enough.
And so now you've done the vacuum cleaner, you do the fans, you're opening up a store, and then there's a rumor you're getting into the car business. What qualifies you, Sir James, to get in the car business?
Well, I hate diesel exhaust pollution. So I've had this burning desire to have a form of transport other than an IC engine, other than something that belches out nasty stuff, because even petrol engines send out nasty stuff.
So what's the result? The result is that James Dyson electric car risks to bankrupt the rest of Dyson, which on the other hand is working like charm. It's one of the best companies in the world, creating some of the best vacuum cleaners and hair dryers in the world. So, James Dyson decided at any moment to cancel the electric car project. Stop. The end. So, what about all the people hired by Dyson? What happened to them? Well, a number of them stayed in the company. to continue work on hair dryers and vacuums, while others went to work to other car manufacturers with the big satisfaction of those manufacturers. So, end result, 600 million euros of investment came to nothing. Well, actually they brought something, because from that project, new ideas have been developed. New people were trained. Of course, those people in the end went to work to other car manufacturers. But those people contributed to the advancement of the whole industry. Dyson gained nothing from it. He just spent. But after all, this is how the mankind progress works. For every successful project, there are 100 more that don't succeed. And you have to reward failure. You have to reward the visionary and daring people who pursue their dreams no matter how crazy they seem. Because if in human history we stopped in the first failure, today we would have never been able to go to space, to fly, to drive, to make a phone call, or even just turn on a light bulb.